Well, I'm sure you're familiar with Uber. Well, in this video, I'm going to go over 10 myths of Uber, whether you're a driver or a passenger. Number 1, riding or driving with Uber is dangerous. Let's be real here. If you're using Uber or if you're using another ride-sharing platform like Lyft, or if you're using just a traditional taxi service, all of these services have an inherent risk. Now, what you'll find if you're using the Uber platform as a passenger or taking rides as a driver, that the vast majority of these rides are safe. Number 2, it's easy to drive Uber. Now, the skill set for rideshare is pretty straightforward, but as a passenger, let's just take a moment to understand what our driver is managing. Your driver is managing traffic, watching the GPS, managing unfamiliar neighborhoods and roads, talking to you perhaps as a passenger, managing multiple passengers in the vehicle, especially during those bar hours. They are dealing with varying times of when they're going to drive throughout the day. That could be taxing on the body and more. Number 3, speaking of your driver, another myth of Uber is that your driver will talk and talk and talk and talk with you as a passenger. Now, yes, there are some drivers out there that just can't pick up on these social cues, that you don't really want to talk during your ride as a passenger. But again, what you'll find for the most part with Uber is that most drivers are understandable and can pick up if you really don't want to talk. Number 4, driving for Uber is absolutely crazy because you will drive drunk passengers and they will throw up in your car. Now guys, I am not naive to the fact that if you're driving those late night bar hours, that yes, you will pick up drunk passengers, and yes, there will be the threat that one of them may throw up in your vehicle. As someone who's done thousands of rideshare rides as a driver, during those exact bar hours, I can tell you that in general, it is a myth that someone, a passenger, will throw up in your car. I want to make a note here that it does in part fall on you as a driver to manage the vehicle and to watch those passengers, and also carry sick bags in your vehicle just in case. You can pick up on those cues. If they are looking like they might get sick, you'll be prepared. Number 5, as a passenger, Uber charges extraordinarily high prices for their rides. The reason this is at least in part a myth is because years ago, Uber updated their platform for passengers to what's called upfront pricing. In the past, Uber would have the traditional surge multiplier where you'd pay 2x, 3x, 4x, etc. during those high demand times. Now, however, you as a passenger will see the price for your ride ahead of time, so it's up to you to either approve or deny that cost. Remember, there are price options for you as a passenger. You can offset the overall price of your UberX ride by splitting the cost with another passenger friend that's taking that ride, or you can opt for economy options like Uber Pool. Number 6, everyone drives for Uber. Now, I'll admit there is some truth to that. It seems like everyone knows somebody, or they've tried to drive for Uber themselves, or they know a friend that's driven for Uber. But there is some opportunity for that side hustle, at least part-time, in new markets. Number 7, as a driver, your passengers will clutter your vehicle. Now, this just isn't true. As someone who's done both Uber and Lyft as a driver, I did not have passengers over those thousands of rides really clutter my vehicle when driving. You can have protection measures if you like a portable garbage can if you're concerned about litter, but all in general, your passengers really aren't going to mess up your vehicle, at least too much. Make sure to check the back seats of your vehicle after every ride, as you will have inevitably some passengers that litter. Number 8, tips to your driver are actually included in the fare. Perhaps a myth from a few years ago, but for those that don't know, tips are actually not included in the fare to your driver. Now, tips are also not mandatory, but they are appreciated by your driver. Number 9, Uber is a massively successful company. Now, this one's a yes and no. Certainly, Uber is massively popular and it is respectfully very successful as it dominates the rideshare market. But when we talk about profitability, they still struggle as a company. So much so that Uber's bringing a $1.8 billion loss into their upcoming initial public offering later this year. And number 10, Uber hires anyone. Now, there has been controversy around the background check process for onboarding new drivers, but do keep in mind that Uber does run federal, state, county, as well as DMV background checks on their drivers. Prospective drivers with a DUI, violent or sexual related offenses, are not eligible to drive for Uber.